still using their money, meaning the banker's money, and paying them a fee, which we call interest or usury, when we have now learned that we can create and spend our own money for free.
Absolutely. And whether it be a community-based dollar, or whether it be a personal-based dollar, or what I'm thinking about doing is Grasshopper bucks, so it might be just, you know, a community that's not really founded by borders, but you can grow. You can do this in any fashion as long as it's honored between.
It can be a cyberspace community, like in cyberspace, or it can be a local community, or it can be a combination of both.
That's right. But it's all about getting back to honor, getting back to that actual. When somebody comes and hands you back some of this money, and you give them that service that you're willing to provide, and that way, if people know that you're good for your service, then they're more than happy to trade around all your money, because they actually would like to get a bunch of it because they want to acquire the services from you that you do provide.
I have another good friend named Javed. I don't think you've met him yet, but he has a group called Turning Data into Wealth.
Okay.
Okay? And he makes a good statement that he says, everything comes into circulation, every product or service comes into circulation from three basic places, from farming, fishing, or mining.
Yes.
And the labor involved,
it really does, if you think about it,
in those things. So
everything.
If you understand that, then you really understand the importance of our community currencies, because they can be asset-backed. They can be backed by your skills, your talents, your data, and your honesty and integrity. And if you use those things to back up your local currency, then it's tradable. It's tradable within groups of people who can trust you and who know you. So we need to expand our groups of people who trust us and know us, because we've kind of lost that in the 20th century. There wasn't a lot of trust. There was a lot of mistrust, matter of fact.
Absolutely, absolutely. We mentioned last year that the kids, it's about the children, and if the children can understand this, and I would, you know, even all those nerds out there who know World of Warcraft, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about, it's like going back to a trading, but what is money? What is of value? We know that the dollar's not backed by silver and gold anymore, and now so much is backed upon, you know, confusion and deception and debt. And this is a viable solution, and we need to be reaching for solutions in this time when we're experiencing an economic failure, and another one looming around the corner. The economists are not being honest with us.
Not at all, not at all. I mean, what we're experiencing now is close to what they experienced after 1929, but we're certainly not as bad as 1929 yet. But in the 1930s, these local currencies were very popular in small towns all through North America, in both Canada and the States. Well,
just like this is a gift certificate. You can purchase a gift certificate with federal dollars, or perhaps even if the business was local, they might want to take some community dollars for that. This is essentially $10. It's worth $10. It's a gift certificate, and just all these different complementary ways of doing business. This would be $10 that would be already pre-spent.
Yeah,
that business can now use that money.
That's from the Umi Cafe in Ottawa. It's a $10 gift certificate, and if I was to give that to you, Matthew,
yes,
you certainly could.
I would happily take this.
You would know where to go to spend it.
I would, yes. It's a local place where I definitely want to go, and you know, they got good coffee there, for sure. Good local stuff.
But that's just an example of how community currency can be expanded.
That's right. But the value upon that is the service that I would like to get from them, and just the exchange of that is fantastic.
Let's talk a little bit about resources that promote the community currency movement.
Certainly. So we have Usuryfree Week is a great resource for promoting this type of thinking.
Usuryfree Week happens every year from November the 13th to the 19th, and just a little bit of background on that. We celebrated the first Usuryfree Week in, I believe it was 2005, and that was the 1-year anniversary after we had made this community currency called Tamworth Hours. Okay. In the small rural community.
Right. You started in your local community. You made the local community dollars.
In Eastern Ontario. And so we just decided, some of us were talking about how could we honor the anniversary, okay? And it happened to be, we had launched the currency November the 13th, 2004. Fantastic. So we decided to make our first Usury-free day, November the 13th, 2005. And then having been a teacher and having been exposed to Education Week for my full career, I think it's the third week in April every year, we as teachers were promoting things about the environment during Education Week.
Yeah, and then you have Earth Day and all
Earth
these
Day,
different
yeah.
allocated
So
times.
I decided to pattern Usury-Free Day, Usury-Free Week after what I learned there.
Yeah.
So Usury-Free Day is the 13th, and then the following week until the 19th is Usury-Free Week.
Yes.
And in that week we try to focus on the topic of teaching people about money and banking.
Learning
and
and teaching.
community currency.
Yes.
So it's kind of interesting because I read some research on educational on the what's that week in April?
Earth Day, or is it Earth Week? No.
Oh, what do they call it? I'm losing my thought on that.
Is this the one with where we all shut off the lights? No, that's just for one day.
No, not Education Week. Earth Week. Anyway, the point was that this man in 1970 came up with the idea of making this Earth Day and Earth Week in April. And then here we are like 30 years later, and every school in North America is doing things that week to promote eco-sense and the environment and all that. So I'm saying,
promote sustainability and a lot of things that are nonsense that we know since ClimateGate, right? Global warming's not happening, everything is okay. You know, things are happening in the world, but the truth is.
So the same about economics. I decided, well, we can use this Usury-Free Day, Usury-Free Week to teach about economics ideas that formal education is not teaching.
It should be in the schools. We should perhaps down the road this Usury-Free Week could be practiced at the schools, where we could start getting into the education and the complementary solutions that we can delve into.
I find it funny about the word usury, because if you bring up the word usury to the general public, 99% of the people have never heard the word.
That's right.
They won't know what the word means.
Yes.
Until you ring some bells and remind them about some things. And oh yeah, okay, yeah, it was in the Bible. The word is in the Bible.
It's in the Bible. Islam is very familiar with it. You know, people who are practiced in their religions do know quite a bit about this. You can look up Psalm 15 in the good book, and it's right there, and it says it's the usury is wrong. It is not right, and this is backed up by how much experience and how much of these, you know, growing actual mistakes, actually feeling the results of what usury will do. Oh, it might not hurt right at first when the dollar is created or something like that, but a little bit further down the road, it could really hurt people. Yeah. It really can, and this is where we're getting to. And
the word usury is so limited. Well, and so is the word usury-free. And this is kind of interesting because I kind of picked up the pen name of Usury-Free because I've been studying this stuff since early 1980s. At first they called me no usury, and then somebody talked about negatives and positives, and so we changed the word to Usury-Free. So like my nickname or moniker is Usury-Free. But I find out from some Muslim people, because the Islam teaching is opposed to usury.
Yes.
So I've had some Muslim people on the internet, they go to a search engine and they put in the word Usury-Free, and they tell me only my stuff comes up. I find that kind of curious. That shows you how limited the understanding out there is about Usury-Free.
Of Usury-Free, exactly.
So then they email me or they call me and they say, well, I just have to talk to you, Tom Kennedy, because you're the only one whose information came up when I did a search for Usury-Free. So just to take that the next step, in that transaction, I met this gentleman in Toronto named Omar Kalair, and he runs a business in Toronto called Financial.
Okay.
And since meeting him like that, he did a search and he found me on the internet 3 or 4 years ago. Now, on March 30th and 31st, 2010, his company is the main sponsor of a special conference in Toronto called UFANA. Okay. UFANA stands for Usury-Free Association of North America.
UFANA of North America, yes.
Usury-Free Association of North America. Okay. So they're having this 2-day conference in Toronto now, talking about concepts about usury-free living. Imagine.
Excellent.
So.
Excellent.
It's amazing how ideas spread, and
that's it.
Hopefully they'll do some good work and teach more and more people about usury-free living, about how it is possible in this 21st century.
Absolutely.